And just to make sure, I'm gonna have you, you got your email open on this computer?
Mm-mm.
No.
It won't do it.
Let me open that.
It spins for an hour.
Does it really?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll go upstairs and look for it. Open on this computer? No.
It won't do it.
All right, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Okay, but I got it.
Oh,
It
you
spins for an hour.
confirmation. Does it really? Okay. I'll
Meeting
go
is
upstairs and look for it.
right.
Open on this computer? It won't do it. All right, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Okay, but I got it.
Oh, does it really? Okay. I'll just go upstairs and look for it. Thanks for your time, appreciate it. Okay, I got it. Oh, does it really? I'll just go upstairs and look for it.
Hey, guys.
Let you know we're live on YouTube right now, so don't do anything that's gonna go viral and make you a sensation.
I locked my door, so I won't have any, unexpected visitors.
Howdy, Keith. I'm gonna hand this over to you right before we get started. Yeah. And then you can take full control over the rest. What, hit record, or you're gonna do that? No, well, I mean, I can if you want, then just hand it back over to you. Well, I just need to hit record pause. Yeah, just hit the play thing. Hit the play thing. So it's like we're starting to record again. That thing? Yeah. Hey Keith, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yeah, we're live on YouTube right now, but we're not recording yet.
Okay. But the audio is good.
Audio is good.
Matt and Drew, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good, Keith.
Good. Good to hear.
Also doing well. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. And I know Harris is doing well. He's always doing well.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking, and you're right. I am doing well.
I have never seen Harris in a bad mood, not once.
I have.
That sounds like a challenge, right?
Yeah, you don't want to.
It happens.
It's rare, but something special, huh?
It's like fireworks. They're pretty to look at, but you don't want to do it every day.
Oh, Keith has great artwork behind him too.
Yeah.
I like that fish design you got going on there. Oh, that's 3 pictures.
Not sure where we found that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot you handed the comment. Well, we wait until 4:30, you said, right?
Yeah, to go. We've only got, well, we got 3.
Yeah,
So that's a quorum.
We got quorum work, but I don't see her. Is there a reason that we don't see her?
Click on participants.
Oh, there we go. Okay, good.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Kathleen McIver, selling Central Florida.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I was afraid I had a Zoom meeting last night and I couldn't get it to work
Uh-oh.
with our HOA.
Oh, boy.
I was really sad.
Oh,
That might be the applicant. Let's see.
who's on the phone? 407-335. S. I'm gonna put this in the waiting room.
Here's Jay Callen.
Jay Callen is the applicant.
We don't know who that is. Don't know who that is.
Here, I can put that.
Yeah, see if it's like Jamie or. I guess Jamie's the only other one we're waiting on, right?
Right. He's one applicant. So recognize him.
Or applicants.
Can the 407 number identify themselves?
Sorry, this is Paul Momberger from Bainbridge.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room for the moment.
Okay.
Thanks.
I wonder why it came in.
So Dan, are you ready for me to go?
Yeah, we can. Jamie is the only one that hasn't come yet, but before. Okay, so you got the recording now?
Yeah, record.
All right, so we're recording and we are live on YouTube now, so you can start anytime. And if Jamie comes and joins us, we'll obviously bring her in.
Sounds good. So good afternoon and welcome to the City of Maitland Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Thursday, July the 16th. As a result of the COVID-19 outbreak and resulting social distancing and prohibitions on large group meetings, and out of an abundance of caution, we're having this meeting electronically through online video communications. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, through Executive Order 20-69, allowed for online government meetings. Participants do not need to be physically present as long as sunshine law requirements are met. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and other city staff are present via online video through smartphone, tablet, or computer. Also, we're invited for the online discussion. Residents and stakeholders can watch the meeting live on YouTube via a link provided on the city web. Today's agenda was posted on the city website on Monday, July 7th. Public comment was invited by email or phone call until noon today. Prior to each agenda item, I'll ask staff to indicate any public comments received and from whom. And we'll also confirm that all members of P&Z received the comments ahead of the meeting. Comments are provided to P&Z members and will be added to the record of this meeting, although they will not be read into the record in the interest of time. This meeting is being recorded. Thank you. So at this time, we will call to order the Planning and Zoning meeting of July 16, 2020. Dan, can we have a roll call?
Vice Chair Bennett,
Present.
Chairman Holloway,
Here.
Commissioner Lamb,
Here.
and Commissioner McIver.
Here.
All are present.
So due to the virtual logistics, we'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance for this meeting and go into the approval of the minutes. On the minutes, we have the minutes from June 4th, 2020. Do we have any comments on the minutes from our planning and zoning group? Matt, do you have any comments?
No, I don't.
How about you, Kathleen?
No, sir.
Jamie? Any comments
not.
from you?
Nope.
All right.
Move to approve the minutes from June 4th.
Need a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Jamie and a second from Kathleen, I believe. Can we have a vote?
Vice Chair Bennett,
Aye.
Chairman Holloway,
Aye.
Commissioner Lamb,
Aye.
and Commissioner McIver.
Aye.
So the next item on the agenda is our public period for non-agenda items. Given the format that we shared, Dan or Harris, can you share some info about any comments relating to non-agenda items by email or phone?
There were no comments received on non-agenda items.
Okay. So at this point, I'll close the period for public period for non-agenda items. On the public hearings, we do not have any on the community meetings. Well, we do have one recommendation. This is a recommendation for relating to Fennel Street, Fennel Park. Harris, do we have a presentation on
We
this?
do have a presentation, and first I'm going to admit the applicants from the waiting room. And we'll
Okay.
confirm that they're in Nicole's.
You said we did not have a presentation?
Yes, we're admitting the applicant.
Oh.
Okay. Jim, Paul, and Nicole, can you confirm that you hear us?
I can hear you. This is Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
I can hear you. This is Paul.
This is Jim Callan. I just joined on as well.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, we'll move forward with the presentation. Actually, I'll do the screen. That way I can go ahead and just. Can everybody see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Harris Burns Kale, planner with the city of Maitland. This is a subdivision petition 2020-01, the Fennel Park subdivision. Some of you all may recognize this park, which was a part of the Bainbridge Apartments approval. Essentially, the park has been developed and still have the apartment complex. And the aspects of the roadway and the park storm retention and other easement maintenance of the easements needs to be recorded into in the form of a subdivision so that we have this for the record. The subdivision process will be going to planning and zoning, then the technical review will happen, followed by a DRC recommendation, and then the city council decision, which is one meeting at city council. After city council, if it is approved by city council, after that, there's a further review period where the city surveyor reviews the plat for consistency with Florida statute. And then the Orange County property appraiser does their assessment as well, along with the tax assessor, making sure that, or they file a statement of lien settlement. And then finally, it's recorded through the county comptroller. So like we were saying before, this is a previous application. This is what it looked like prior to development. And over time, the Bainbridge Apartments has been developed. And because of that, we need to go forward and have this subdivision recorded. The technical review is not complete, but the preliminary review reflects the subdivision is consistent with the comprehensive development plan and will be consistent with the code once we get done, ensuring that the easements and other language on the plat is to the city's satisfaction. Here is the plat. I acknowledge that the plat that was included in the legislative file had some markings on it that were like a 5 and a I that were kind of inconsistent. That we have a clean version of that depicted on the PowerPoint. And if anybody wants a clean version, we could send it to them after the meeting. And we'll go ahead and zoom in on a portion of the plat to talk a little bit more about that, where the Flagler Promenade Way has been spelled out along with the stormwater track and park area. And then other easements have been called out, and then their easement agreements, which will be recorded, are referenced on the document. And those things will occur prior to city council approval. So staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission forward a recommendation of approval finding it consistent with the 2035 Comprehensive Development Plan and satisfactory provision and arrangement has been made concerning factors itemized for review by the Development Committee in section 7.5-133. And if that concludes staff's presentation, if you all have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Or well, we don't do public comment. I'm used to the regular way that we do this, where we do have public comment from people in the audience, but we don't do that. So I'll stop sharing unless I stop sharing.
Is there anyone from the applicant that wants to speak at this time?
No, not really. We're just available for any questions that might have come up.
Okay. So we'll I'll ask about questions now. Kathleen, do you have any question for staff or the applicant?
I didn't know if you'd be addressing the questions or some of the responses that are needed for the emails that we got, the commentary asking, about who's going to be maintaining it, and wondering about I was trying to understand the water pipe issue with the wall and what that was all about. I didn't quite understand that part.
Well, in a general sense, some of the questions that we received, they were unclear on what was going on. Some of the individuals thought that this was a construction project, a proposed construction project, as opposed to being a construction project that's already been completed. And some of the items that were referenced in the email or on the document not only have already occurred in construction or occurred prior to the project's inception. And then furthermore, the wall has been recorded on the plat, and the maintenance of that wall are recorded on the plat as well. Is there further clarification that we should provide?
It just wasn't clear because it didn't make sense what they were asking on some of this thing. I had seen this project on Lakes Advisory, so I had seen this way before it started, and then when this came back, I was like trying to figure out what the issues were. So that kind of clarifies it.
And if I could jump in, because it kind of brings in the point now. We did, from the public hearing side of it, we did receive 3 emails, and I did forward those to everybody. I'm assuming just by a head nod that everybody received those. Okay, so the code required us to do a mail out within 500 feet because it's a final plat. So these questions came from some of the mail outs that came out. What this is based on the direction of our city attorneys, is that rather than do these easements and maintenance agreements through individual agreements, they said it's a lot cleaner if we just do it in a plat. So all this plat is doing is identifying the city tracks, the developers tracks, which ones, what the easements are, and who's going to maintain the easements. There's no new development proposed. There's no new expansion of the development. It's just simply recording what was already approved. And we explained that to the 3 emails that came in. We would have gone back and forth and answered them. So that's basically the gist of those 3 emails.
So Dan, I have a question to your point. Why wasn't this completed in 2017 with the development agreement and the initial construction?
Originally, the idea is that these were going to be done through just agreements, maintenance agreements, and recorded easements at the end of the process. Once all the easements were going to be exactly identified and located and all that stuff. As we went through the process and we were getting near the end, it was decided that the platting is probably the better way to go with it, because that gets it recorded a little bit differently, and it kind of puts it in perpetuity as far as mapping the system in a plat. So our council said we should just make this a lot cleaner and just do it through a plat. So the whole reason we're here is that it was the city that was asking the applicant to do it. It wasn't originally the plan that happened, but the city has then asked the applicant, let's go ahead and replat this to make it cleaner. And so that's why we're here.
So sheet 1 of, I'm assuming the civil set, identifies former Burmese Drive. Is that being vacated as part of this process, or has that already occurred?
That's already occurred. It occurred back in 2005.
Okay. All right, I think that answers a lot of the citizen questions.
Probably just as a point of getting it documented, since we've introduced the email. So let me just take a moment to open up that public period for this agenda item, so staff can share what we received, or just what we received related emails or phone calls. Can we do that now?
Yeah, so staff received 3 emails. One of them was from a Christy Minnick at 7711 Avonwood Court in Orlando. The other one was from Dr. Jennifer Danilowski at 7715 Inwood Court. And the last one, let me zoom in here, Franz Salini. And she had a question. Don't believe I have her address. She represents the Winfield HOA, but I don't have her exact address.
Okay. So at this point, I'll close the public period for this agenda item. Matt, did you have any questions of staff?
I guess I really didn't, but well, a little bit of what Jamie was referencing, kind of somebody was referencing some of the responsibilities over maintenance and that. Is that clearly spelled out in here? I wasn't able to find it.
Some of the responsibilities are clearly spelled out as for, in particular, BVT, Bainbridge is spelled out in their maintenance, for instance, landscape, I believe, and other portions I can't dictate to you right now without looking directly at the plat. And the agreement language of what it is that they will be required to do will be recorded in a separate document. So the area in which they are allowed to approach is spelled out on the plat, and then the reference document of what the agreement language, what it is that they're supposed to do and not supposed to do, so on and so forth, will be in a separate document to be recorded.
Okay. So
that is still developing. It's not complete yet.
Okay. So how does this, and I may not have the latest version, but when I go back and look at the comp plan, the way I understand, at least the version that I have, is that this area has been designated as public parks and city property. How does that play in with all of this?
Well, it is a city park and also a regional stormwater pond, and it's all, and then city right away. So it's all part of that, you know, basically public network of uses.
Okay, okay,
The Bainbridge is the applicant solely because the fact that they needed the roadway and to shift the stormwater pond and do all and construct all this. And as part of the DA to complete their site, they needed to finalize the recording of these documents. And then we shifted to this subdivision to do so. And that's why they're the applicant, if that's the question.
okay. Okay.
Right. Any other questions from anyone at this time or comments?
None from me.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to, well, I want to make sure I'm clear because I'm looking at the document. The actual recommendation is not to forward it to council, but forward it to DRC, correct?
Dan, could you put the
Ultimately forwarding it to council with with your recommendation, but it still goes through DRC.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, fair enough. So I'll make the recommendation. I'll make the motion rather to forward the proposed final draft to council with approval and certify that the proposed plat is consistent with the comprehensive development plan.
I'll second.
Was that second from, was that you, Kathleen?
Yes.
All right, so we have a first and a second. Can we have a vote?
Vice Chair Bennett,
Aye.
Chairman Holloway,
Aye.
Commissioner Lamb,
Aye.
Commissioner MacGyver.
Aye.
Excellent. So on to our next agenda item. There are no decisions on the agenda for today. How about old business? Any old business to share?
Yeah, I'll share some business while the applicants are signing off. So old business, of course, the city council adopted the downtown Maitland zoning district and design guidelines, as well as the last remaining DMZD parcel that eliminates the whole DMZD district altogether and replaces it. And I'll talk about what happened with that. There was also a couple other ordinances that went through to you guys that they adopted, including the election sign ordinance and the wellhead protection ordinance, as well as the RS2 zoning district hours of operation along Maitland Avenue. So that was the main old business. And I'll discuss some of the stuff on that in the new business when you're ready for that.
All right, how about some new business?
All right, I'm glad you asked. So new business, council on Monday night appointed your 5th P&Z member to replace Vance. So they appointed Glenn Jaffe, who will start his term next month, the beginning of August. So we'll welcome him aboard. Staff's going to meet with him hopefully in the next few weeks and try to get him all the materials he needs and kind of get him up to speed and get him where we're at now with everything that's been done over the past several months or years. The module 1 of the land development code is in a draft format. We will most likely get that to you at the beginning of next week. So the question for the P&Z Commission is, we're going to have, obviously we have an ultimate schedule, but we've got a little bit of time on this. What we would probably recommend is we meet maybe twice a month for a little bit and kind of digest it. Module 1 is broken up into a few different parts and it's about 200 pages. So I'd recommend that we kind of maybe meet twice a month and just go until we're tired of going and then get through it. We ultimately will come back with you with module 2, which is the remainder of it, and do the same type process. And then at the end, we'll get a recommendation from P&Z on both module 1 and 2. So, but it's really at the pleasure of how the commission wants to do that. It is very likely that we will be doing virtual meetings for the next several months until things get a little bit cleaner and the virus keeps a little bit better. So keep in mind that the next few meetings will most likely be virtual. So however you prefer to do that, we're definitely open to what your pleasure is.
So Dan, as you described the module 1 and module 2, so we're gonna make our decision or whatever on both of them. At the end, you're just talking about we cover material in a grouping first in module 1 and then module 2, and then we would give recommendation on both at the same time.
Correct. So module 1, we have a rough draft that we think we're making a few more comments back to Clarion, and then we'll release that to you probably early to mid next week. So give you time to start looking at that. Maybe we'll meet second meeting in August and first in September, however much time you want to look at it first. But we're not, when we start meeting on it, it's purely just to kind of go over it in workshop. And it's not asking for a recommendation that night. We want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time to be very comfortable with the material. Module 2 is not finished yet, and that's why we're not giving it to you both at the same time. Module 2 will probably be done within the next 3 to 4 weeks or so. And so that's why at the ultimate end of the day, the schedule is you're recommending both 1 and 2 together, and then 1, 2 go to council as your recommendation of that. And that's the completion of it. So if it takes us 2 meetings, 3 meetings, 4 meetings, whatever it takes, as long as we stay on the ultimate schedule.
So is there anything in module 2 that sort of is informed, or we sort of need to know when we're looking at module 1? Is there anything in your mind that we'll have to sort of do a refresher back on module 1 once we get module 2?
Probably not, and you'll ultimately be seeing them both. So we're not going to ask you for a recommendation on 1 until you've seen 1 and 2 together. So it'll make it easier in that sense. Module 1 is a lot of the use standards and the tables, the new zoning districts and the permitted uses in the tables, the definitions, and use specific standards. Module 2 is going to get more into the processes and the authorities and how we're going to run, anything from rezonings to things like that, or operations of boards and all that stuff. So it goes hand in hand, but we're not going to make you, or not going to ask you to recommend 1 before you see it all.
Kathleen, did you have a question?
He just answered it.
Okay. How about you, Matt? Do you have any questions for Dan?
No, you asked the question that I was going to ask, so that was good.
Okay. How about you, Jamie? You may be on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. No questions. Thank you.
It's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of time you're going to get to spend with this, which I'm sure you're all happy about. So,
I mean, the workshop idea sounds reasonable to me. Would we go ahead and set a time frame that for the finish, or are you sort of waiting till you get the completion of module 2 to define that?
The ultimate finish date is set to have council adopted May of 2021. So in that we have module 1 and 2 that we have to get through, joint workshops with council and P&Z when they're both ready to go. Public hearings, obviously, for P&Z, public hearings for council, community involvement, things like that. So we've got time, but we also got to stay on a schedule. One of the things that when council adopted the downtown portion, they had asked that 3 things come back to P&Z as you're going through the modules. There was no time frame of when they wanted it back, but I think as you see module 1 and 2, that's probably the appropriate time because it's going to coincide with some of the stuff in module 1. The 3 things that they wanted P&Z to look at is the possibility of creating a underground master plan, the possibility of offering off-site sustainability options. You know, we had the sustainability section in the downtown. They wanted to look at, explore having some offsite sustainability, things that can count for points that a developer could do if they wanted to add maybe an offsite EV charging station or something like that, that they could get points in the sustainability. The other one was they wanted us or they wanted P&Z to look at the edge district of the downtown Maitland to see if there was any interest from P&Z on the compatibility standards, specifically talking about right now there's a setback of the buildings to protect it from the traditional neighborhood, and they wanted to have P&Z look at is there interest or possibility of maybe reducing that setback for a larger buffer in case you have maybe some residents that would rather see the back of a building versus a parking lot or something like that. So they wanted you guys to kick that around as well. And I think because neighborhood compatibility standards are not just in downtown, they're also in module 1. It's a good, I think that's the right time to do it. Again, council never gave us we want it back by X date, or we want a P&Z recommendation by X date. They just said these 3 things they want P&Z to take another look at.
Okay.
Was there any major comments that they made to that above and beyond what we had, or?
The downtown, the only change that was made is where there was the metal steel walls were prohibited. They changed it to say metal and steel is prohibited except for an architectural accent feature. That was the only change they made from what you guys recommended to them.
Okay.
I actually do have a question. I misspoke. Last time we did a workshop, as I'm sure we all remember, it went into the late hours. Is there possibly a better method we can identify from now so we can come prepared? I'm just trying to think of, I feel like last time we talked about approaching it differently to try to kind of mitigate. And I mean, I'm all for discussion. I just was thinking maybe if we come in advance with comments, or I don't know what would be the best way to organize it, but just thought I might throw that out.
Question, very good question. It's definitely your pleasure because you're not making a recommendation on that first meeting. What you could do is if you want to get us your comments ahead of time, we'll prepare them and we'll combine them all. And then when we get there, we'll have everybody's comments and we can go down them that way if you think that's going to save time. That way you're not sunshine violations and talking outside of the meeting. You're just sending it directly to us and we're compiling it and bringing it back to you guys to discuss.
Yeah, I will admit that is a big ask, I think, of the board, just given everything that's going on with working from home and families and all that. So, you know, I just thought I'd throw it out there and leave it up to you all to see what you guys felt.
Yeah, and
So
the other
Dan,
question for you guys. Sorry.
You said the first module we were going to have in our hand a month ahead of the first workshop. Is that correct?
Well, our plan is to give you the first module sometime early to mid next week. And then likely the first meeting, we can do the first meeting in August, or we can do the first and second in August, or we can wait for the second. So you have a good 3 to 4 weeks to look at it first. It's really your pleasure at this point. And the other question to consider is, since it will very likely be a virtual meeting, we can start it at any time the commission chooses. We can start it at noon, we can start it at 5, we can start it at midnight, whatever you guys choose to start it. I prefer not the midnight though, please.
Does anyone have a conflict, or I guess I'd propose that we start it, if we could start at 5:30. I think that sort of, given everything, takes what we were doing before from a commute time, and it should get us out of the traditional workday. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, that works. Would we think of doing it on the August 6th?
We could, it's only gonna give you a couple weeks to look at it, but we could do that if you'd like. I mean, there's no decision being made on the first one, so it's not like you have to read it very, very quickly.
Mhm.
Are there other items lined up on the agenda for the August 6th?
Currently, there's not. There's a couple things that are in the wings. Dan Bellows, PD, is ultimately going to be coming back to you guys in the next couple months, most likely. The Ventress Lane subdivision, preliminary subdivision plan will probably be coming back to you in the next month or so. Other than that, there may be some quick ordinances that come through as Band-Aids, but there's nothing on the slate right now that's locked in.
Yeah, and the Jim Lake is September earliest, October more likely.
Okay. And it's okay to wear pajamas on these meetings.
You guys aren't wearing your pajamas?
No, but if we started at 5:30, I may run home real quick and get my pajamas, get more comfortable.
I wear business attire, to bed, so I don't know about you guys.
Like Baby Boss, you wake up in a suit, you get to see the suit.
So is that your pleasure that we meet the first one in August or both August or?
And you said we would get the document, would we get it by this Friday or?
No, my hope is early next week. We've got a couple more comments that we want to get back to them. So you get a little bit cleaner version. Obviously it's not going to be the final version, but there's some things that we see that jumped out on us that we just got it 2 days ago, but I'd like to get you a little bit cleaner version than what we have. So my hope is to get it to you midweek next week.
So that would really just give us a week and a half to look at this before, oh, I'm sorry. No, we did say August 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be that, if you want to meet both meetings in August, then we start tackling as far as we want to go and just say stop. We'll meet it again next time and pick it up from where we left off.
Well, I guess that would give us a way to not have the long stretched out meetings. I mean, what do you guys feel like? Go ahead and just try to do a couple of, couple hour workshops in August.
I'd like to see us do that and break it down and, and I don't know if it comes in chapters or how it's going to come, but, maybe so we can concentrate on just those first parts versus trying to absorb and go through the whole thing and then come back with comments. I think you're going to end up reading it more than a couple of dozen times, but I think that to get the feedback from everybody and to give everybody time to think about what it is, I think if we concentrate on smaller sections of it versus trying to, eat the whole elephant in one bite.
Dan, could you do that for us? Just sort of propose to us what, just a couple of chapters or certain part of the document to focus
I thought
on?
you were going to ask me to eat the whole elephant for you. Yeah, the module is broken down into 2 articles, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see it, it's not terribly big. It's actually very pretty, lots of graphics. The use tables are something that we could probably get through fairly quickly, but it's 2 articles. It only took staff about 45 hours or more to go through, so it'll be quick with P&Z. But we overanalyze everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, hopefully our over analysis makes it easier to digest.
Yeah, it actually is a lot. I think it's laid out a lot nicely now, and it's cleaner. So hopefully it'll bring up some really good discussion and some good points, but hopefully it won't take near as long as we agonize over every word and every definition and every what if scenario.
And the good news about it is there's a little bit of a break from the reading because there are visual displays, and visual displays are used quite frequently to kind of break up the monotony. So it kind of helps up with the readability of the document, to be quite honest with you. I'm not trying to say that this is Rousseau or, Madison or the Federalist Papers, if you will, but
I get distracted by pretty pictures, so well, have some discipline on myself.
happy little trees.
So it sounds like what I'm hearing is we'd prefer to go ahead and have our August 6th, 2 meetings in August, focus on maybe the first meeting on the first article, and then the second meeting on the second article of module 1. And that way we could sort of keep those meetings down to, around 2 hours. Does that seem reasonable, Dan?
Yeah, the first article is 80 pages. So it's not terrible, and half of those are pictures.
Okay.
So I think that's doable. I mean, there's no pressure to finish it in the first meeting. So if we get through 10 pages and decide we're going to continue it, or it gets past our bedtime and we want to go to bed or something, that's okay too.
So it sounds like we want to set those meetings for 5:30.
Okay.
All right, anything else on that?
Actually, Dan, well, yeah, I guess it's on that because it's all kind of related. Well, 2 things actually. When did you say we'd expect to get module 2?
Module 2 will probably be about a month or more away.
Okay, so that would fall in line then, that we would kind of be able to get through 2 meetings of reviews of module 1, flow into module 2, and then we can kind of plan our review sessions or workshops on those accordingly, correct?
Yeah, and what I want to keep cognizant of is if and when the Gem Lake PD does come back or something, I don't want to combine that with one of these, because that's.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's going to be a
good point.
A full meeting in and of itself.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and then this is my other question, or I guess request, and maybe I have it here. I've not been able to find it as we've been on this call. But can you send out, and maybe I have it. I apologize, but I'd like to get the overall schedule again.
Yeah.
I know May of next year is kind of the date, but I just like to kind of see what I think at the last meeting or one of the last meetings, you had a nice schedule that kind of laid out the game plan. I can't find it.
Yeah, we didn't zoom in because we didn't want you to see the specifics. It had a bunch of crayon drawings on it.
What I figured, but I'd like to get it so I can overanalyze it.
And also keep in mind that the P&Z charter says that you guys can set the date and time of the meetings. You can actually call special meetings if you need to. Right. No, so if Thursdays, if there's a better time, if Wednesday, Tuesday, definitely not Friday or Saturday, please, but if there's a better day, better time, it's absolutely, you guys have the authority to set it whenever you want.
Saturday afternoon sounds cozy.
I know Kathleen knows what I'm thinking.
All right. So it sounds like we have a game plan, Dan.
Okay. At some point, Chairman, we are going to need you to sign the minutes. So we'll get them to you somehow safely and virus-free and everything.
Yeah, just let me know and I'll mask up and come see you. Yep.
Sounds good.
Hey, Keith, so the first meeting in August would be on August 6th, and then would the second one be on the August 20th?
Yes, that's my understanding. The stay-in pattern, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm, get it on the calendar.
And you will have the 5th member on August 6th joining. So we'll get him the copy, obviously, when we get it to you guys, and kind of bring him up to speed with downtown real quick and where we're going with.
Make sure you share the game plan just so he knows how we've talked about attacking this.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him the overall schedule before we get it to Matt.
Did we confirm 5:30 too? I like that idea. I just didn't know if we confirmed it.
Yeah, I believe I proposed that to Dan, 5:30.
Awesome.
We can do it anytime.
I like it.
Once, twice.
All right. Any other new business, Dan?
I don't believe so. Is there anything I left off?
I don't believe so.
No. Just get ready to roll your sleeves up, because this is where the code's gonna get a lot of the heavy hitting part of the code.
Okay. Any other business commission deems advisable? So if nothing else, we can be adjourned. Thanks, everybody. I think we made a pretty successful virtual meeting, but it went well.
Went
So
very smoothly.
thanks a lot.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
you too.
Be safe out there.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't. What do you want me to do?
Hit stop recording. Okay, now on the live YouTube at the very top, don't go near the end.
I'm not.
That live YouTube up there. We're not.